Welcome, heathens and witches, to the Horn
and Cauldron
podcast pub chat. First things first, thank you for our listeners who are listening to this, and sorry for the unscheduled summertime break. It has been a bunch, and that a bunchness is functionally the topic of today's pub chat, which is going to be about burnout and magic and the like. So let's start with just like a little disclaimer. Oh, before we get into the actual meat and potatoes of this.
Maybe tell them who we are.
Before we get into the meat and potatoes of this, you should know who we are. No. I'm John Norgrove. This is Julie Norgrove. And this is our witchy podcast. If this is your first time hearing us, we have a bunch of other stuff. We generally do these every single Monday, but for the tiny break that we had to take.
Yeah.
So, we'll be getting right back into it, guys. So expect more of these coming out every Monday. Pub chats every other Monday. And then on the off Mondays from pub chats, we'll have our standard issue, full length, like deep dive style episodes. If you want to find us anywhere, I'm at Nerd Jive everywhere. She's at Goddess Jules everywhere. And, we've got a Patreon and all that kind of stuff. And we'll talk about that at the end of the podcast. So let's get right into those meats and ors potatoes.
Yeah.
With a disclaimer.
Yeah. So, disclaimer time. The views expressed by this podcast, us, are our own and are not meant to be taken as medical advice. We recommend that you work with a healthcare provider for advice, diagnosis, or treatment.
Yeah.
We also feel strongly that magic is not meant to replace proper medical or mental health treatments. It is very important that if you have something that is a medical or mental health item, that you do not try to fix that purely with magic, because that's not science.
Seek a professional help. You know what we aren't? Professional help. We are some differentially educated folk online, would like to share the things that we've learned and learn some things from you guys and build a community of chill, like-minded individuals who want to just, again, share knowledge and things like that. So if it's something that if you need to seek like help, seek real professional help. This is primarily going to be as an observation of like what we went through and what we observed and what we've done and how we can how we are fighting against that just utterly exhausting millennial burnout.
And another disclaimer, we're almost done, I promise. If you are having a crisis or you know someone who is, please call the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline at 988. That is new. All you have to do is dial 988. It takes you there, and seek help immediately.
Yeah.
We want to keep all of you around, and not because you are just listeners, but because we like to think of you as our friends, even though we cannot see you.
We have to keep all the awesome people around. So that way we can continue to offset all the just nightmare people that exist right now that are trying to just, take stuff away from us.
Yeah.
Just limit us from being free. Just nightmare times, guys. Nightmare times.
Yeah.
So let's move on to Burnout. What, pray tell, is that?
So Merriam-Webster dictionary defines burnout as
opposed to Merriam-Webster, the cookbook, or the car company, or the television program.
No.
I was just being facetious.
I'm not gonna.
Judgment. You got judged. Guess what?
I'm not engaging in this now.
Judge.
Merriam-Webster defines burnout as exhaustion of physical or emotional strength or motivation, usually as a result of prolonged stress or frustration. I only just looked up this definition for this episode of Pub Chat, but I knew what burnout was, and I read that and I was like, oof.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah. That's exactly as I would expect a dictionary to define burnout as, right? So that's accurate.
And we've been living in quote unquote unprecedented times for over 2 years now, and it's really starting to take its toll on people everywhere.
Yeah.
And there's a lot that kind of goes into that.
And part of it is the burnout due to the, these times and the things that have been going on. But also a large part of it is just, how many of us are in thankless jobs? How many of us are working
too long,
crazy long hours, or doing 3 jobs because, our place of business thinks that, well, we've always done it with one person, and even though they keep asking for more, why would they need to hire another person? Or
how many
the
of us
other
are
people in the field
monetizing
aren't
our
doing.
passions?
Yeah, how many of us are trying to turn hobbies into money?
Yes, we understand the irony of that.
Yeah, which doesn't help because we don't have, it means that you don't have as much like downtime because you're working your job that's already putting you under undue stress, as well as, now you're trying to like add bonus work to your life, as it were. And I think, at least from the like millennial perspective, I think a large part of that is the generalized idea that we are often not treated as experts in the field that we work in simply because of like perceived youth, which doesn't make any sense because we're in our 30s, man.
Yeah.
Like, we been doing this. You should listen to us. But
I turned 40 like 2 years ago, and I remember when my mom turned 40, they had like an over the hill party for her, complete with like coffin stuff and like tombstones.
I mean, a coffin party sounds dope, but that's its own
and stuff.
That's its own thing.
But it's not just the work. It's not just that stuff. It's also
it's not just like, the utter disrespect.
Yeah, it's also that, we're living in a time where everybody keeps saying it's making history, and it's really exhausting to be living through a time where
we're gonna go back to normal, but like, was that better than what it is now, guys? Do we really think that, or do they just want to make more money?
Yeah. So all of those things together really create sort of like the perfect storm recipe for burnout.
Yeah, for increased likelihood of burnout.
Yeah. And the more I talk to people that I know, whether it's in a magical space or in a mundane space, the more the topic of burnout comes up. And it's a tough one because there's a lot out there about increasing your productivity, whether that's about work or whether that's about home, hacks and tips and tricks to increase your productivity when it's being increasingly difficult to try and avoid burnout because we're all doing so much right now, and we're all being put under so much pressure that it's hard to just keep it on the level.
Yeah.
And we have struggled with burnout this year in particular, for our regular listeners, or for people that have just recently binged us. Hello. We're happy you're still here. John changed jobs earlier this year. That was part of a strategy to fight burnout. Yeah. And then his job,
labor and stress, so I have more time for this stuff.
And then his job hours changed, and then that didn't help.
It became a lot more
hours. My day job has been putting me under increasing amounts of pressure and stress, and it's been really difficult for us to try and beat burnout. So that's really why we had to take a break. Sort of an unplanned, unannounced break, is because we just had too many balls up in the air, and we were running a little ragged, and we needed some time to rest and some time to recover before it got to be too bad.
Yeah.
And I say that because it takes a while to recover from burnout. Some experts say that it can take weeks or years. Some experts, especially recently, are even saying that it takes up to 5 years to recover from burnout. Although this does vary from person to person and situation to situation.
Yeah, it depends on the severity of the burnout.
Severity.
Yeah. You're like a little burned out. If you're just like smoldered, maybe a couple of weeks, you're good, right? But if you're like completely torched, well, it's going to take a while,
Yeah. So it's not So it's something that once you get to that level, it's really hard to come back from. And we recognize that we were getting not close to that, but we recognize that we were moving closer to that than we wanted to be.
Yeah.
So we had to take a break, but we are feeling great. We are back. We are excited to be back. It is almost spooky season, which is perfect, very energizing.
Good season for us.
But as far as burnout goes, there's a lot of ways to heal and avoid burnout. And if you want to look for mundane ways, there are tons of resources out there. So, just sort of Google around, you'll start to see common threads of information.
Don't work harder.
Yeah.
That's not the, if they're like, well, just, bootstraps or buckle down or whatever. That's not, no. Try and turn,
Yeah.
Like,
and if
turn it
you're
over.
interested, we're more than happy to talk about the mundane strategies that we use to try to avoid that. But your magical practice can also be a way to help to reduce burnout.
Yes. Yeah.
Or to heal from it, wherever you are on that burnout spectrum.
Yeah.
And we have a few ways that you can use your magical practice to avoid and or heal from burnout.
Yeah.
So my favorite way is to use your favorite form of divination. For me, that's tarot cards, to help you understand how you can recover and prioritize yourself. And when I do that, I'm basically asking the cards to tell me what I need to know. And that really takes a lot of the stress out of pulling cards. I don't need to think of a question and then I'm not trying to figure out what these cards mean in relation to my question. I'm really just asking the cards, hey, what's going on? What should I be aware of? And sometimes it's something simple, and sometimes it's something mundane, and sometimes it's something a bit more profound, and oftentimes, more often than not, it's the same things over and over again. And though when you start to see those trends emerge, and we say, just drinking game, we say often you should write down what it is that you're doing. So this is a great way to do that. But I get that's just another thing that you need to do, right? Mm-hmm. But you'll start to remember, like, oh, I saw like these kind of cards last week, or whatever it is. So ask your divination tools how you can prioritize yourself, how you can recover, how you can heal, what you need to know.
What do you need to hear such that you can reduce or avoid burnout? Another way that you can help with this is to rearrange your magical space, whether that's simply organizing it or cleaning it because you've been sort of like remiss at that, a thing we literally just did, because it's been a while, or even if it's just like putting away stuff that's been cluttering your space, to reduce clutter,
switching
so you feel a little bit more open.
Yeah,
switching out seasonal stuff, something like that. Again, this doesn't need to be like we gotta scrub everything and we gotta get stuff. It's like put on a podcast or a TV show or a movie or anime or whatever entertainment thing you want to watch, and like not 100% pay attention to. So like don't put on something that you're
music you can sing along
or
to,
music or whatever.
Something.
Yeah, and just like clean off the space, reorganize it. That's literally what we did. We put on a show that we were watching that we really didn't want to watch. But at that point in time, we were too far in, and so we couldn't give up. We had to see how this garbage show ended, and it was garbage from stem to start.
Yeah.
But whatever, we didn't have to pay attention to it, so we were able to clean our workspace, which helped a bunch.
It did.
Actually.
It did.
So yeah, that was really, really nice.
Yeah. You can also focus on self-care rituals when you're feeling like burned out. It's really tough to want to spend that time on you. But one of the things that I have learned for me as a way to prioritize myself and to avoid that is to schedule time, to make it mandatory for me to take care of me and do the things that I like. And I say that as someone who understands the necessity of that, but is not always great on the follow through of that. So we are not perfect either.
Take up
So focus on self-care rituals. And the thing is it doesn't need to be this big thing. I am one that definitely likes to do sort of like big productions. I like to do a bunch of research and stuff before I get like a spell going. But the thing is you don't have to do that. You can just relax. You can just plan something. However, some people find that that is more relaxing to sort of throw themselves into something like that and take their time researching and creating. So whatever it is, try to focus on rituals that are based around your self-care.
Yeah. Another thing you can do is work on meditation. So you can just meditate. Again, doesn't need to be like a big to-do. Meditate. I often meditate before bed. Sometimes I sit there and I'll do the whole bloody thing. And sometimes just like meditate a little bit while you.
It's horrifying when I wake up in the middle of the night and he's just sitting silent on the couch in a quiet room, with just like cartoons flickering on the screen with no sound because he's meditating. I'm just like, whew.
Yeah, I can still hear the TV. Don't worry. I have crazy Vulcan hearing, but yeah. Sometimes I meditate and then fall asleep sitting up. So that's a thing that happens.
That's also horrifying. Also, you don't need to meditate for a super long time. You can do it for just short bursts. If all you've got is 1 minute, do 1 minute.
Little micro meditations. There's this Scottish guy I used to listen to who, I cannot remember his name, it's been so long, but he used to do these little, 3-minute guided meditation, audio things. I just found him on YouTube. It's like a quick little 3-minute meditation or whatever. And it's one of those things that you can just do, sitting at your desk at work.
Yeah.
Or, before you get back from lunch or whatever. And it's just, a quick little thing. Micro meditations. That's very important.
Yeah.
Right? Is you don't need to do a big howdy do about stuff. Just do a little thing. It's helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. You can also read a magical book and you can kind of take that wherever you want to go, right? So maybe it's an actual book on magic, a grimoire or something else like that. Maybe it's a fantasy book like Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings or something where there is magic that exists in that world. Or maybe it's something that makes you feel magical.
Yeah.
Everybody has that kind of thing where they're they watch it, they read it, and they're just like, oh, this feels so magical. And just because we're saying reading doesn't mean that you can't watch something.
Or listen to an audiobook, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you've got to commute, listen to an audiobook.
Ingest something that makes you feel magical. Consume that content.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. You can also spend time in a place where you feel at peace or where you feel like magically inclined, where you are magically inclined, whether that's the forest or the ocean. And that can be something as big as a hike. That can be something as small as just sitting out in your backyard.
Yeah.
Or, going down to the river. Or, next time you have a little bit of time, go to the ocean and just sit on the beach.
Yeah.
Again, you don't have to make a production of it, but go to a natural place. Or honestly, if your at peace place is the local, theater or the local aquarium or something like that, find some time, schedule yourself some time to go do those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can also petition the deities or spirits that you work with to help you heal in the similar way that you would use your divination tools to do this. You can also lean on these entities to help you. They will probably give you homework of sorts. Petitioning a deity or a spirit for help with something doesn't mean that they're going to pull some magical strings in the background and make things all better, although that is a possibility. But the thing is
Maybe.
You also have to do the work too. So if you're asking them for help, then they'll be here's how you can also help yourself.
Yeah.
So that's definitely something to keep in mind if that is a choice that you make.
Yeah, definitely. And schedule some magical time for yourself. Right? It's just sort of focusing on self-care rituals. Schedule some magical time. Whether that magical time is before you have breakfast in the morning, drawing some cards or throwing some runes, or even if you're at work, when I worked at when I worked my desk job, I used to on my first break in the morning, like I had like a travel tarot that I would pull cards and throw up on my desk. After, for like during my first little 15-minute break, 10-minute break, whatever. Just because it gave me something to kind of look at and focus on as like a thing to sort of keep me from getting overly taxed whilst working throughout the rest of the day.
Yeah.
So schedule yourself a magical time and do magical things.
Yeah. And if you can, invite a friend. Magic is definitely fun done together.
Yeah.
Of course, that may not be applicable for everyone, and if you are in the broom closet, you don't really have anybody in like the area that you can talk to. There are definitely like online groups.
Oh yeah, there's a bunch of forums on Reddit. There's a bunch of groups on Facebook. And scheduling your magic time doesn't necessarily need to be like.
You mean inviting a friend?
Well, inviting a friend, excuse me. Inviting a friend doesn't mean I know how to read. Doesn't necessarily need to be like a physical in-person thing. It can be like engaging in the discussion forum, on r/whatever on Reddit, and like having those conversations and things like that. So it doesn't have to be like an in-person friend.
And if you want to reach out to us, by all means, reach out to us. We would love to chit chat and say hi, as well as maybe help you out.
Yeah.
You can also cleanse your space regularly, and cleansing your space can be a lot of things. Some people don't have the ability or just are not really into doing like smoke cleansing for a variety of reasons, and that's fine. You can also cleanse with sound. You can cleanse with light. You can cleanse with water. I mean, you could cleanse with like a nice smelling room spray. One of those little plug-in
in my mind,
things
cleansing
too.
with sound is that old Bose commercial where the guy like sits down with the like with the like ski goggles on and
he sits
hits
in
the
the
power
chair,
button and it's just
and it like blows
it's like
everything.
blasting him. It's just like concentrated sound.
Yeah, I love that commercial.
That's such a great commercial. Yeah. I technically in Star Trek they cleanse with sound. They use sonic showers.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true.
So yeah, cleanse. You could also do some magical crafting, like make a wand or like a witch's ladder or like roll some candles. Go to the local feed store and buy beeswax and roll a candle, or like find a pretty rock and then like. Or stick or whatever, and like carve some stuff into it.
Or like paint the rock.
Or like paint some stuff.
Yeah.
Or like do art. I do art like all the time. I got a new art book. I share it on Instagram. Follow us on social media. But I got like a cool new art book that I wanted to get into, and was just like, you know what? I'm gonna find and make time to do art regularly.
Yeah.
And I've done the I'm just going to do art, whatever. And then I'm inevitably too busy.
Yeah.
And I've also done the every day do a art. And then inevitably I get burned out. And by the end, I'm just like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
But make time to do some sort of crafting. And that can be painting. That can be something to be used in your practice. Honestly, it can be writing. Same thing. It's all the same thing,
Mm-hmm.
Or tending your garden, but throw a little magic in there.
Yeah.
So find some time to do some magical crafting.
Yeah. But most importantly, if you're feeling burnt out, if you're feeling like you don't have any juice left, take time to recover. Allow yourself the grace and allow yourself the time to recover. You might not feel like doing any magical work for weeks, and that's okay. It'll still be there for you when you're ready. Spirits and deities, they're not going to get mad at you for taking a break.
Yeah.
They're sort of like eternal entities, and a couple of days or even weeks or months
functionally
off,
means nothing.
It means basically nothing to them. So you have to take care of you first.
Yeah.
And that's really important when it comes to the burnout side of things, is in order to stop or reverse the course, you have to make changes.
Yeah, you have to make changes. And again, you have to find time to not do stuff. Just put on a TV show and sit there. You don't need to put the TV show on and then do something else at the same time. let me tell you how frequently I have to remind people that it's okay to relax. It is okay to be bored. We do not need to constantly be engaged in doing stuff, accomplishing goals, making things happen. Sometimes we just need to like sit there with like a glass of water or like a beer or a soda or whatever your liquid of choice is and just like watch a dumb movie. And that's it.
Yeah.
Like, do the non-joke chill part of Netflix and chill. Everybody's like, Netflix and chill. Whoa. But, like, maybe try chilling out, man. Right? Like, there's a reason why that started before it became the thing that it became. So, like, yeah, take some time. Netflix and chill. Just enjoy a movie, you know? Like a weeknight movie or enjoy a TV show or find a program that you like and every Tuesday the program's on. All right, that doesn't mean you need to be doing laundry. That doesn't mean you need to be worrying about whatever the heck. Just like, you know when it's going to show. You know when it's going to be on TV, when it's going to air or whatever. Like, schedule your life around it and for 30 minutes just sit there and just enjoy it. You know? It's like, I know that sounds obvious and simple, but let me tell you, a lot of people.
It's tough.
It's tough.
The absolute worst at that.
Yeah. Yeah. You just gotta sit there and relax, or you're gonna get stressed out and worn out. And sleeping to recover is not the same thing. Sleep recover's a different thing. Right?
Yeah.
You need to rest, not unconsciously. It's not the same. Yeah. So those are sort of like some of the things that you can do within the magical space to help you both recover from and reduce instances of burnout.
Yeah.
And I mean, those are functionally just about all the things that we did.
Yeah.
And have been doing to help us cope with, the burnout that we were going through.
Yeah. Yeah.
/ are going through.
Yeah.
It's not like we're done.
Yeah,
we
didn't
still have
like magically
a million
cure
things
ourselves.
to do,
Yeah.
right? But these small changes help sort of reduce that load, for a lack of better words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So next up, we're going to talk about magic in media. So we've watched actually not nearly as many things as we would like to have said that we've watched in this tiny break that we had. But we did watch Thor: Love and Thunder.
When that first came out. Yes, it's been a while. Well, it's been a while.
It's been a while.
It has. So yeah, we watched Thor: Love and Thunder, which if you have not seen that, oh my God. Schedule some fucking time for that.
It was great.
It is amazing.
Yeah.
It's so good. Taika Waititi's a genius.
Yeah.
It's super fun. From a magic in media standpoint, I think the biggest thing for Thor: Love and Thunder is obviously all of the gods.
Was all the gods?
Yeah. Which was great. We got to see a bunch of gods in this one.
Yeah.
Which was rad.
Yeah.
It was fun. We have only seen it the one time we saw it in theaters.
Yeah.
It's not out yet on
I don't think so.
Disney
but when it
Plus
comes
or
out
whatever.
again, I definitely
want to watch it.
But I
and
also
to be able
want to
pause
it and be like, who's that?
Some of those scenes with the gods is just like quick pan shot, and you're just like, oh, damn it.
Yeah.
I got some of them, but I didn't get all of them.
Yeah.
So we definitely want to kind of go through that with a finer tooth comb, as it were. But yeah, there was a lot of cool gods. You got to see a lot of that, the sort of interaction between Norse magic and the Marvel universe, right?
Yeah.
Which Marvel Norse gods are a little different, but that's okay, So it was a really interesting movie from a purely magic and media standpoint because it covered a lot of ground. It presented a ton of new characters, both actual gods from legend, as well as introducing a bunch of fun new gods specifically from comic book characters. insofar as some of the characters that they brought in, like the characters of like the gods of other characters, I don't even know if those are from the comic books.
I know what
I'm saying? Like I read the comics, but like it's going to be interesting to see like, well, is this like actually some Marvel aliens god, or did they just like make it up to kind of fill the room out? You know?
Yeah.
You know, like that like when we watched that record of Ragnarok, and it's just like, here's a bunch of recognizable gods, and it was like 4 or 5 blue people and like 4 or 5 red people and like 4 or 5 green people and like 4 or 5 yellow people, just because they needed to like fill the room in, and they were just like, yeah, whatever, give this one a horns.
You're
give
like,
this
that
one
one's
whatever.
an orc, I guess.
Yeah, you're like, I don't know what that is, an ogre or something. Whatever. That one might be Sauron, who knows? But yeah, so it was really good. We enjoyed the movie. The like just way too short god scene where they visit like, I don't know, whatever, the capital of the gods or some nonsense like that, is so good the whole time. It is amazing. It is. Who plays Zeus? Is that Russell Crowe?
Yes.
Oh, Russell Crowe is Zeus. I don't know what accent that was supposed to be.
We do not understand the
so
accent,
good.
But it was good.
Oh man, it was so good. He was hilarious. Everybody was super catty in it.
Yeah.
Which was fantastic. Obviously, Hemsworth as Thor, he just brings the absolute thunder.
Yeah.
Pun fully intended there. He's so good at it. So yeah, this was like a really fun, like summer blockbuster, like action adventure sort of movie. Yeah. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Enjoyed it.
There's a lot of interesting pieces in it too about like Christian Bale's character, which is the bad guy. He's like the god killer.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of interesting sort of bits about that in terms of like gods and worship and how that works.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because he's like actively hunting the gods, but from his perspective, they're like not doing enough.
Yeah.
To help people, and so it like starts this whole sort of like drama, which is incredibly interesting.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And its own whole conversation to be analyzed. But yeah, it was really, really good. Highly recommend it. And we have seen, like we literally just finished like yesterday, a couple of other things for Magic and Media, which will be coming up in the next pub chat. But if you have seen something that is that you think would fit a sort of like brief discussion of Magic, within Magic and Media, let us know. In fact, one of the things we just recently watched, like technically I would have never really considered Magic and Media until like we did this sort of like deep dive conversation meta analysis of it, and I was just like, oh my god, this is amazing. Yeah. So like, yeah, look forward to that next time. But yeah. Let us know if there's something that you think we would be interested in watching. If you want to
sort of pre-game on that particular Magic and Media, watch the movie Triangle.
Yeah.
It is sort of like a horror thriller. You can find it on Shudder if you were using that service. I don't know where else it is, but it's probably somewhere else.
Yeah.
So if you want to sort of pre-game there, check out Triangle. And also, if you do have things that are suggestions for us to watch, definitely let us know. We've got a list. And we will just continue to add to said list.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, we look forward to hearing your suggestions. With that being said, we would like to thank our patrons, Alan, Miranda, Alexa, Helena, and Adrian. You guys are awesome. Thank you very much. And we look forward to getting back into all of that stuff.
And getting back into the regular swing
of things. Now
Thank you
had a little bit of a break.
Helping us do what we do and better every time as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So what's next up?
So next full-length episode is going to be Tesseography or Tesseomancy, which is how to read tea leaves. And that one is going to be super duper fun.
Yeah, that's exciting. And then after that will be the next pub chat where we'll talk about Triangle, as well as we'll have a story. Will be the return of story time. It'll be my turn to tell a story. So That'll be interesting, as well as we'll address a user question. So if you have a listener question, user question, ugh, I don't know what that was. My mind is slipping. It's fine. Listener question. So if you have a question, let us know. Reach out to us on social media or comment. If you're watching this on YouTube, comment below, and we'll we'll go over that stuff.
Yeah, you can also send us a message via our website as well, which is nerdtribe.com.
We have a submission form for that. We look forward to hearing from you guys.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I've been John Norgrove. This has been Julie Norgrove. This has been The Horn.
And Cauldron.
Podcast Pub Chat. If you are listening to us on YouTube, don't forget to like this video, comment below, share this video around so other people have some ideas of what to do about burnout with regard to their magical practice. And, subscribe to the channel and do all that kind of stuff. And if you're listening to this on your podcast network of choice, leave us a review, because that's literally the only way we know that you listened. I'll never understand podcast metrics. I'm just not there for that.
Yeah.
So
we know there's I missed that day
of school, I guess. But so either way, we will catch you guys next time. Thank you very much, and stay magical, folks.
Yeah, and don't forget, breathe in self-confidence and breathe out self-doubt.